There it is, just under 192 kilometres, taking the race out of Castilla y León and into Zaragoza. And not only are there no official climbs on the route for the first time so far in this race, but there's a net descent of around 700 metres between start and finish. Wind might be a problem, but other than that, there's just the intermediate sprint at 23 kilometres to go, and the big one at the finish in Ejea.
Just over 10 kilometres to go now, and the average speed, the speed at which they're travelling at the moment is touching, would you believe, 70 kilometres an hour. They've picked up a tailwind, but also this race is developing now, fast and furious, an almost uncontrollable pace, slightly downhill as well as the GC teams proliferate all across the front. We've got Movistar, Israel Startup Nation, and Astana, and it's pretty terrifying as they pass through 10 kilometres. This is rapid, isn't it, David?
This is the worst type of classic Vuelta racing, in the sense that when it picks up on a stage like this, it is... I don't think there's any other race, especially Grand Tour in the world, that goes this fast when it does start to go like this. And so, yeah, it is nerve-wracking. Although, a little bit counterintuitively, if you're in the right place, it's actually very safe. Because it's so fast that everybody is just glued to you side by side. And I think at the moment that's it. Meanwhile, at the back here, it's a little bit different. If you lose that wheel, you struggle so hard. But you can see, at the moment, that's not the case. This is when you've got a pure tailwind. You can sit at the back, and you barely have to pedal. But if you're at the front, you're going into a wall, and you need all these aero positions. You need whole teams of people to keep it going. But the slipstream they're creating allows everyone else behind to just, and it's a bit of a bad term in cycling, pick their nose, because it's so easy.
Well, you could see actually Willie Smith, who was the last man in the breakaway with the yellow numbers on. Of course, he won the Combativity Award yesterday as well. So if he wins back-to-back Combativity Awards, that is quite something. But as you say, David, he's actually able just to coast in on the wheels at the back of the peloton at the moment. So the pull he's getting is amazing here.
Exactly. It's the heavenly position to have been in, if you've been in a break all day like he has, to get caught and then just be able to coast along at 60+ k's an hour on the wheels with a bunch of people who are also equally relaxed. Then that's the dreamy situation. If you imagine those breakaways where you come into a hilly finish and crosswinds, and then you've been caught and then dropped immediately, then have to battle your way in, Willie Schmidt's not going to have to do that today.
There's Dan Martin in the green jersey, right in the middle of his teammates, and they've done an excellent job, it has to be said, Israel Startup Nation today, of moving him perfectly placed towards the front, and Movistar with Enric Mas in the white jersey doing the same thing on the left-hand side of the road. Lotto Soudal battling for position. Hard to know who they're riding for really today. No out-and-out favourite in the sprints. Jumbo-Visma equally just interested in Primož Roglic and keeping him safe today in the yellow jerseys. Deceuninck Quickstep of the big sprinters teams, they're the most visible towards the front, but still it's Luis Leon Sanchez and Astana who take things up right on the front with 7.3 kilometres to go. Ineos Grenadiers with Carapaz in the polka dot jersey, the blue and white jersey, they're on the left-hand side of the road, around about 20 positions from the front. There they are, the relaxed coasting group. Jay McCarthy, Alexander Camp, they did a lot of work on the front in the early phase, and Willie Smith's just going out of the shot there. A couple of the riders from Movistar, including Marc Soler, released from duty. Omar Fraile takes things up now with Luis Leon Sanchez on his wheel. If they do have a sprinter today, which they don't really, then it might well be Alex Aranburu, who could sprint today, but primarily they're trying to keep Alexander Vlasov safe, who's still just about in the hunt, a rider of his talent in the general classification. He's already 5:42 down, but in 2020, I think we have to treat that as with a deal of caution, because one or two good days and Vlasov could be right back in the top 10.
Yeah, and I think he will be a threat, although he's young. He's not proven in a race like this. What we're seeing from him is, and especially the way professional cycling is going, you don't want to let a young rider off the front or give him any opportunities. So Astana will have that belief in him, and everyone else will have that fear that he could do things.
Still no sign of the big sprinters teams, and Deceuninck Quickstep, well, there is none bigger. By the way, if you're looking for the national champions jersey of Ireland, which Sam Bennett has worn all year before taking the green jersey at the Tour de France, don't. Because at the beginning of October, the Irish National Road Race Championships were held at the beginning of October, where they should be held in June, and Ben Healy won the Irish National Champions jersey. So Sam Bennett is relegated to his standard team kit.
Yeah, and it's look at this now. Actually, sorry, just to interrupt you, can see just how the confusion is now reigning. What we just saw, 5Ks to go. Now all the teams are losing their order. So all of a sudden, we're now getting to that point in a race where, and this is where the high speed has an effect. Everyone finds it really easy up to a point. Then all of a sudden, when you try to get there, you realise when you hit that wall, you can't. And so it's going to become very tactical in a very confusing way now. There's not going to be the usual systematic teams drag racing. Now it's who's got the most skill at riding their bike this fast.
Border Hansgrohe's team are divided into two at the moment. They've got 3 riders at the front, none of whom is Pascal Ackermann. They've got a clutch of riders a little bit further back. You can just catch a glimpse of those green helmets in around about 20th, 25th position. That's where Ackermann is. Ackermann alongside Bennett, the big favourite to take the victory today. His last sprint, though, ended in disaster at the famous cobbled one-day sprinters race in Belgium not so long ago, about just over a week ago, the Scale de Praise. Where he was relegated for a very dangerous manoeuvre, taking out a rider called August Jensen and Yvonne Cortina with a horrible sideswipe in the final couple of 100 metres of a sprint that was won by Caleb Ewan. So we're looking for a clean sprint from Pascal Ackermann today, who is himself a 2-time Grand Tour stage winner of the Giro last year in 2019, the big German sprinter. But look at that chaos all the way across this big wide road.
Yeah, and if there's one rider we know who can perform in a tailwind fast sprint, it's Ackermann. He's proven it. Although he had his incident at Scale de Praise just 10 days ago, less than that, 8 days ago, we saw him before that at another race where he just did the most incredible, Tirreno Adriatico, where he did this incredible high-speed fast sprint. A little bit dangerous, but he got away with it, and I'm sure his team are thinking the same thing today.
Over a bridge, a little tester for the legs, and get down in good order from that, and the pace picks up again. 3 kilometres to go. Border Hansgrohe now. Cajarural hitting the front. Cajarural will be riding once again for Jon Aberasturi, who is competitive regularly at the Vuelta in these sprints without ever tasting the top step of the podium or hitting it. NTT, they've got the front now with Janse van Rensburg, I think, who was a lead-out man for Edouard Boassenhagen at the Tour de France in 2018. I think he'd be the one that they'd be riding for today, as Michael Valgren takes things up for NTT.
Yeah, Valgren is a rider that you can trust in these situations. Although he's one Amsterdam, there he's done. He's just turning up. He can't match that. Deceuninck Quickstep have played it perfectly. They are the team that every other team in this race will watch because they're so good in these situations. They wait. And when they go. And even Valgren there, you saw, he couldn't do anything when they came to the front.
Because it's Rémi Cavagna, and it's Rémi Cavagna with the turbo switched on as well. Look at the effort there from the Frenchman. This is a huge turn now from Deceuninck Quickstep, really asserting themselves, shoulder barging as well, getting a little bit physical in the bunch. And Deceuninck Quickstep now moving to the front. We're inside the last 2 kilometres, and that is where they've decided to show their colours. Sam Bennett just surfing the wheel of Michael Murcu, who he has got riding for him here. He'll be the last man, the lead-out man, and he is one of the best in the world at doing that, the Dane. So he's got the very best of support today, Sam Bennett.
Yeah, and I think Sam Bennett he's been quite quiet so far. I mean, he's had such an amazing race. We haven't really talked about him because there's so many different things going on. Obviously, we haven't had a sprint, and this is the first day. Now, Sam Bennett, I think he now has earned the right to be considered the best sprinter in the world. And this is the first stage his team will have been targeting for him. And everybody in this race will have been expecting it. And let's see, but I'd be terrified if I was one of the other sprinters trying to battle against him today with his team.
It's a pretty technical run into the finish. There's a little hill at around about 500 kilometres to go after a right-hand turn, and then there's a left-hander, and then the last 300 metres or thereabouts are downhill. It's going to be lightning fast and pretty alarming, frankly. Deceuninck Quickstep, though, now with 4 riders still involved, asserting themselves once again at the front. Moschetti with 1 rider in the colours of Trek Segafredo with a red band down the middle, not far from the front too. Alongside them, Ackermann. But at the moment, it's all about Deceuninck Quickstep on the barriers where the room is getting pretty tight. Jasper Philipsen now being led out by 1 man, and Philipsen has still got another man though. So Philipsen cruising the wheels and looking pretty good, the Belgian rider in the colours of UAE. This is the right-hander. It's not the last turn though. They've got another left-hander to take. A little rise in the road now through 500 metres to go. Here it is, a little kicker to get over. That'll tire and sting those legs and take some of the power out of them. Lorenzo Monzin from Total Direct Energy, and now Ackermann having to sprint already to get himself into prime position, which he does, and downhill all the way to the finish line here. So here it is, the finish line. It's lightning fast. Jesper Philipsen finds himself on the front. Here comes Pascal Ackermann though with a big charge. Sam Bennett finds the German on his wheel. Philipsen on the front. Can they get past him? Bennett now with the lunge for the line. Sam Bennett coming fast. Bennett takes it from Philipsen. Marechko in third place, and Pascal Ackermann was in fourth. It was mighty close, but Bennett timed it to perfection.
He timed it to perfection. That is one of the most complex situations to judge as a sprinter, even of his qualities and caliber. And you saw he only just made it in the last 30 or 40 meters. Because of that speed, there's so little you could do. And even Ackermann, who has great experience racing those sort of sprints, couldn't do anything. But that just goes to show how strong this man Sam Bennett is.
Eats sprints for breakfast, the Irishman. That was great, but you're right, Dave. I don't think I've ever seen a running like that before. That was awfully complicated.
Now you can see Philipsen hits out early, and to kind of quickstep, the whole team just falls, and they have to leave their leader to go for it. Sam Bennett goes, and there's Ackermann trying his very best. I think he thought he had this, has to sit down, but look at Bennett, the strength. He just stays out of the saddle the whole time. To be fair, Philipsen's doing an amazing sprint, but Bennett, this is why he is now considered the best sprinter in the world. Only he could have pulled that off.
Right, there's confirmation of the results. Bennett from Jesper Philipsen, the Danish-sounding Belgian, and Jakob Marechko, the Polish-born Italian, with Pascal Ackermann able to do no better than fourth. All the GC contenders were in the bunch on the same time as the winner, the bunch being pretty big, 103 riders. Chris Froome was in a group 42 seconds down, along with Harry Tamfield after his long, doomed but admirable day in the break.
So Harry, you told us yesterday you wanted to be seen at this Vuelta. You were certainly seen today. Take it from the start, kilometre zero, because you went pretty early.
Yeah, it was a bit wet actually at the end of the neutral. I had my gilet on and stuff, and it was pretty chilly actually at the start, so I think we were at like 1,000 metres. And Willie, who was in the team last year with Katusha, and he just roared off the start. And I saw the front of the race, the front of the row was all just, one of every team. And once the two guys went, I went through a gap, didn't get out the saddle, just rode like 800 watts and went up the road, looked and bridged across, and then it was just like roadblock behind. There was no interest really. I think the other Burgos rider came with me because it was the Cofidis guy and Willie that went first, and he just jumped on my wheel. So there was four of us, and it was rapid all day. I mean, I knew it was going to be fast, so we got the 55 on, but wanted a 56 to be honest. Most of the time, it was I think we did like a 49 or 50 average or something. It was pretty fast.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. I was just it was so fast in the running, a bit nervous, and fast all day. But I was just nervous, like it was a bit sketchy. And then in the final, we weren't all together yet, and then. It was mad how we said we need to be together at one point, and at that point the team was all there, so they did the job perfectly. They came together when we needed to, and even more than we asked to be there. We only asked a few guys to be there, the whole team was there to support. So yeah, I really want to thank all the guys, and they did an absolutely fantastic job.
After that textbook laid out, it was kind of messy in the last round. Tell us what happened. Did you see you were going to miss the stage win?
Yeah, we kind of eased up a little bit because we thought maybe it'd be lined out, and then when we went into the last left-hander, it looked a bit dirty, and we weren't sure about how much grip it was. And I just kind of saw that I could see I was after passing 300 to go quite a bit, and I wanted to go to the outside, and then I wasn't sure if I'd keep it upright, and then Jesper Philipsen came up the inside and got such a jump. I actually really didn't think I was going to catch him, but in the end, I started getting more and more speed towards the end, and I was still accelerating to the line, so I had the power. But when he initially went, he was so explosive out of the corner, I didn't know if I could catch him.
It's the second year running Sam Bennett has won the opening sprint, stage 3 last year, stage 4 this. He didn't win the points jersey then though, Primož Roglic did, and the way the Vuelta's set up, it'll probably be another byproduct of the GC race. The same might end up being true of the mountains jersey, no change there since the stage had no climbs. And status quo in the white jersey, Enric Mas and Andrea Baggioli both finished in the main field. And finally, for the first day in the race, not a single second's time gap to change in the graphic for the top 10 overall, which is fine by the defending champion and pre-race favourite. Well, not much to say about the red jersey today, but plenty to say about Sam Bennett.